It's not visual. Oh, this is porn. This is pornography. Hello, internet, and welcome to Don't Get Your Hopes Up, the podcast that we do sometimes a week. My name is Josh Allen, aka Lore, joined here as always by the shambling corpse of Mike B, aka Fony.
That was me trying to take a deep breath. I just wanted to see if I can do it. Nope, not yet. No deep breathing yet.
Don't breathe yourself to death.
No, I will not. I'll try not to. Hi.
Hello.
It's been an interesting week since our last episode. 1 week.
Yes. Man, it's crazy what can happen in a week.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. Because this may sound familiar to some of you who are not on the live stream. Maybe just listen to Did You Who. But last year I had this thing, something called pericarditis. Doesn't necessarily matter what it is. All that matters is that it fucking hurts. Like if it just feels like there's like this pulse, this like radiating pressure from inside of your chest that hurts so bad. Like when they ask you scale 1 to 10, right? It's a fucking 10 plus. New game plus, right? Like it's it's a 10 plus. It's last year it took me out for like a week. This year I caught it a little bit early. Woke up, kind of felt some like a little bit like a tingle in my chest that just felt weird. And I was like, okay, the last time I kind of got an inkling of this, in less than like 2 hours, I was like just in so much unbearable pain. And so I texted my wife and I was like, I'm going to go to urgent care now. And so I went, EKG, CT, MRI, blood drawn, and
That's the worst alphabet.
Something, yeah, no. And then something else I forget, but they basically and also whatever. That's EKG, where basically they like it's kind of like a ultrasound on your stomach. I think that's the EKG. Okay. The ultrasound on your chest. Anyway, so everything came back clean. So like, oh, you're good. I'm like, fuck you.
Then explain this death I'm currently having.
No. And so I went to so they gave me some pain meds, which were just the Indocin it's called. And obviously different pain meds work differently for different people. She gave me Indocin. She gave me like 6 tablets and then she told me to take them like several a day. And I was like, really? Bitch, this is like 24 hours of pills. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, she's clearly not listening to me, right? My needs. And what followed was basically like, what I was worried about was, that I was basically ramping up into like the grand finale or whatever, the peak of the pain, because last year the pain was so bad that I was like shaking. I couldn't actually sit still. I don't know if you ever had pain like that before for anything ever. But basically you can't stop moving. You're like shaking, uncontrollably because you're in so much pain.
Yeah, when I was a kid, and this is probably still nowhere near what you're experiencing, but when I was a kid, I had a ridiculously bad sunburn to the point where I was like unable to hold still.
Right, yeah.
Like you have to move just because, like, for whatever reason, that makes it more bearable somehow.
Yeah, totally. And so I do the Indocin. The Indocin took kind of the edge off the pain. But then it gave me like headaches and like all these other like really shitty side effects, like body aches. And I'm like, really? Like this made me feel worse. So the next day I go in again. And like the pain was getting worse. And so what did she give me? She gave me this, what's it called? Nabumetone. Fucking like a Lion King character, I think. And so I started taking that. And that wasn't really helping much. I took some Oxy to help take the edge off from the pain, and that first night, it kicked in like probably around like 9 o'clock at night. It was like last Thursday night. It kicked in, and it was just as bad as it was last year. And and I was in tears because, half because it fucking hurt so bad. And also because I was scared, like I was freaked the fuck out, man. Like this is twice that I have this quote unquote ultra rare fucking disease, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, something's not right. And so I somehow managed to get 2 hours of sleep. I couldn't lay down. Actually last night was the first night I actually laid down to go to sleep since last probably Wednesday night, Thursday night.
Wow.
I basically would prop myself up with pillows in the corner of the couch, and that's where I sat. So much so that actually my ass was the nerve endings on my upper ass are kind of numb for some reason, like crushed or something. I don't know. I'm sure it'll come back, but I can't really feel my upper ass. So
I can go get a funny sentence.
I could get a tramp stamp right now and probably not feel a thing.
Get one that just says "Make it so."
No pain or something. I don't know. And so the next day I went in again, and they rushed my. I got that echocardiogram. That's what it was. Got the echocardiogram, and then they rushed the results because I was bugging them, right? And I was messing the waiting room. The lady at the front counter, she could tell something was wrong, and she was like, what'd she say? She was like, what's the matter, sweetie? Like that, right? And I broke down, man. I couldn't even talk. I just gave her my ID, and she goes, go sit down over here. I'll take care of it. And I was like, thank you so much. Like I didn't think I was even gonna make it to the hospital because it was the middle of the day, right? So they rushed the echocardiogram results, and she comes back in. She's like, so they told you it was pericarditis last year? I was like, yeah. And she goes, huh, that's interesting. Did you get echocardiogram? I said, no. I got a CT scan and fucking everything else. And she's like, oh, well, nothing here shows that you have pericarditis. And so that, I was like, okay, great. So what is it? She's like, yeah, I don't know. But here's some more nabumetone or whatever the fuck.
Jesus.
So I went back home with this fucking nabumetone, whatever, and I was taking it, and it was doing a good job of taking the edge off, but I still couldn't move without feeling pain, And so then that night, I have these cannabis pills, right? Cannabis soft gels are called. And I have my card, in case anybody's wondering. I have my card. It took 5 minutes to do online. The lady that did it was she had the webcam on, she didn't know it, and she was folding clothes. She had 12 kids running around. It was totally a stereotypical type scenario, right? She could have had the it could be a trailer park or something. I have no idea, but it definitely was really weird. She's like, what's your problem? I was like, I'm having trouble sleeping. She goes, you're approved. And that was it, right? So it's pretty easy to get a card. Anyway, so about these pills, because I tried them before for recreational purposes, and it's and they're pretty powerful. And my buddy was like, yeah, if you have anything with CBD in it, like an edible or something. I was like, bitch, I'm not gonna eat a fucking brownie. I'm dying. I'm not gonna sit here and munch a fucking lollipop or something.
You know what would make this better? Cheesecake.
Exactly. And so he was like, no, those pills. And I was like, oh shit, that's right. I forgot I got these pills. And so I went, I got one. I took it. And, an hour later, it was in full swing. And it was the only fucking thing that actually took the pain away. It was still very uncomfortable to lay down because the pain was replaced with kind of a dull, pressure almost. But it wasn't a pain pressure. It was almost you have a fart bubble or something, right? you kind of feel it, oh, I got gas or something.
Those are painful for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it felt kind of like that, but minus the pain in my chest. There's a fart bubble in my chest that doesn't feel pain. And so anyways, I had the best sleep. That was Friday night or something like that. I think I even tweeted it out. I was like, oh, it kicked in or something. I don't remember what I said, but I remember I was like, I'm about to take these weed pills. It's just happening, goddammit it. And man, it was just the best pain relief I have ever experienced. Granted, I don't have a whole lot of experience with a lot of different pains. Really, it's just this chest thing. No big deal, just the chest thing.
No big deal, just wanting to die.
Yeah. But it worked fucking wonders, man. And again, like, I don't know if anybody listening has any kind of like reservations about cannabis, medicinal cannabis, weed, whatever. But if you're somebody that is in any kind of pain regularly, fucking check it out. Like, it really, and it's like when I take Oxy, I'm just a fucking like dizzy, nauseous, and I can't move because I'm afraid I might throw up or something. With weed, it's like, still you can't really move very much, but with these pills, like you're just like fucking floating and you're happy. Like, and that's the thing. That was the biggest thing, is like I was fucking miserable on every other pain med they gave me, and this one fixed the pain and it made me fucking feel better about everything. Like, I'm gonna make it through this, man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I mean, independent science for a long time has been indicating that cannabis is actually one of the best pain relief medications out there. Like, depending on how much you believe what type of research that you see, the pro legalization people would argue that like the biggest reason that I don't actually think it's an unreasonable argument, knowing how the pharmaceutical industry works. The biggest thing that's stopping it from being fully legalized is pressure from the pharmaceutical industry, because it's just so easy to get a hold of, that if they now can't sell you a $500 bottle of Oxy because you grew a $10 plant, like,
yeah, totally,
that's a problem.
Totally. Yeah, so yeah, the biggest thing is the CBD, the cannabid oil, I think, it's something like that.
The cute but deadly, yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest. That's the thing that did it. Because I mean, just smoking weed will take some of the edge off, but but smoking only has THC, or vaping only has THC.
Oh, okay.
But the pills and edibles, they have CBD, which is why you get like a different high from edibles versus just smoking. It's almost like it's actually almost the same difference between like being drunk and being high. Like, it's a completely different type of high. And in this case, it was the most glorious pain relief that I absolutely needed. And I need more pills because I ran out, but they don't sell them in like a pack. It's not like a 30 pack from Costco or something. You get like 5, and I think they cost like probably like $5 each or something like that. So really, if you're like slanging fucking Percocets or something like that for $10 a piece, the weed pills do way better jobs. So like, that would probably be a better deal, and you can probably get more money for it. I mean, that's if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, today I fucked up my pain schedule last night, and this morning I woke up in just like crazy pain. So I'm back on it. I'm feeling much better tonight. I'm gonna take pain pills before I go to bed. No more weed pills. I think I'm good. I'm not feeling that kind of pain. And then just I should be good within the next few days. Last year it only lasted a week. So, and I was still kind of like stumbling about a bit, I think, when I came back. But yeah, I'm approaching a week, Wednesday or something like that. So hopefully I'm feeling pretty good by then. So that's it. That's my story. I almost died.
Well, damn.
Again.
Try to not die.
It's an annual thing though. So once I'm done with this, I'll just have to wait until I die next year again.
Well, good. I'm currently attempting to not die due to over extensive amounts of sneezing. So
I thought you were contemplating like a very complex transition there.
Yeah, like trying to find ways to mute myself is really fucking with my audio levels as well. So rip. But yeah. That sucks and is also interesting. And try to not have Pericarditis or whatever.
I'll try not to. Is. Next 2 Tuesdays from now, because that was the earliest appointment I had. I'm gonna go see my doctor, my family doctor. So hopefully she's willing to take the multitude of fucking tests that they've done on me over the past, this time and last time, and figure out what the fuck is wrong. Because I don't want to think every time I get a viral infection of some sort that I'm gonna have to do this for like the following week.
Yeah, for sure. And like if it actually isn't pericarditis and it is something else that's like chronic in some capacity, if they just continue treating it like pericarditis, then that's no good either.
Right. So. Yeah. Just take medicine and just wait it out. What?
Yeah.
That's not how people live their lives.
You'll be better or dead in a week.
I know.
Jesus.
So.
Yeah.
Speaking of trying to tie in like Pericarditis with my destiny is to always have these chronic weekly, yearly thing. I don't know. Just kind of throw out ideas there for you.
Speaking of inevitable death, I don't really
and things
know.
that are better while high.
Speaking of the guy from The Wire, so yeah, fuck it, no transition. We're just moving on. Destiny 2 came out on PS4, which as soon as they announced the release date, you like everyone should have known when the WoW North American regionals was going to be, because they're not allowed to release a Destiny game without making sure that I'm in some other fucking state or country at the time.
That's right. You were in Ohio, right? Weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this time I said, fuck it. I actually brought my PS4 with me and I played from the hotel room.
That's fucking great. Oh, you streamed, didn't you?
I streamed, yeah. I actually...
wow.
Yeah. The internet there wasn't great, but I was able to stream at like 2400 or 2500 bitrate.
Not bad. So it's 2030, easy.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I dropped frames here and there still, but whatever, it's fine. It's a hotel room stream. I don't think anybody's hopes were particularly high. But dude, okay, so this fucking hotel room. Here's my story about this fucking hotel room. So I have I think you have one as well, the Elgato HD60S.
Yep.
The USB 3 uses a Type C connector, so it's super fast. Capture card can capture 1080p 60, and the vast majority of the time, it's basically plug and play. You do have to install like weirdly. I discovered this recently when I was setting it up for Live. You have to install the actual like Elgato game capture software, like their streaming software.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work.
Some of the functionality out of it, yeah.
Yeah, it like just doesn't work if you don't. I don't know. It was weird. We couldn't get it working in OBS until I installed that. But basically, you install the software, you just go into OBS, and it just treats it like a webcam. Here's a webcam that happens to be a video game. Is basically how it works.
Yeah.
And I fought for like 45 minutes to an hour trying to figure out a way to, like, it just wasn't working. And I was like, what's going on? So it turns out in this hotel room, they had really nice amenities, really nice, like the room itself was really, really nice. Like it was pretty upscale. It was a Hampton Inn, but like Hampton owned by Marriott or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the ownership was, but it was fairly nice. For Ohio, you know. And eventually I figured out the problem was that this TV, which had an HDMI, it had two HDMI connectors on it, could not accept a 720p feed. Like it just couldn't. It couldn't do it.
It was like 1080 only?
It wasn't even that it was 1080. It literally could not accept an actual HD signal into this HD television. I like something with the TV. I don't know if it was like one of those really, really early quote unquote HD models where all it was like
480p or something,
or like 720i or something bizarre like that. But like it just would not accept the feed. And eventually I was like, oh shit. And because it wouldn't accept the feed, that was then going back through and making it not work for actual capture as well. Like I wasn't seeing it in OBS either.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it was like literally I would be seeing it in OBS, everything would be fine. I would just have it as capture, and so I would just be capturing, no output from the HD60S. and it was working just fine in OBS, but the only way for me to see it at that point was through OBS. And there's like that little bit of capture delay, which is just balls trying to play a console first person or any sort of first person shooter.
The 60s is pretty tight, but you're right. Yeah, especially if you're playing FPS. Yeah.
So what I mean is, like, if you're doing it from actual OBS, the actual OBS software, because it's compiling the stuff, there's like a little bit extra delay that's added to it. If you're using the pass-through, then the HD60S is completely fine. But because of I was like trying to play it through basically by watching my own stream in OBS. It was basically how I was playing it. And that was balls. So then I eventually figured out, like, okay, yeah, actually the problem here is, like, as soon as I plug that pass-through cable into the TV, everything goes to shit. That's weird. So I had to basically give up on that TV, but fortunately I had like been thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do some streaming from this hotel room, and the thing that always sucks about hotel room streams is how if I'm streaming a PC game, like I was figuring I was probably gonna do some Ark, because I've jumped into Thaddeus and Moon and them.
You have like a second monitor or something, right?
Yeah, I need a second monitor, so I bought this like little 10.1 inch like portable monitor thing, just because it's really super tiny and portable and fits in my luggage just fine. And so I was like, fuck, I wonder if that can take a 1080p feed. And sure enough, it can, because this tiny ass 10.1 inch, like $70 monitor is somehow better than this thing. And so I ended up playing most of Destiny, like the first probably 2/3 of Destiny 2's campaign on like basically an iPad.
That's amazing. That's so great. And I know that you could use, I think the way you did it actually made the most sense. Outside of, if you have the money to spend on that, right? But in a lot of cases, you could always use the like a tablet as a secondary screen through a USB or through like Splashtop or whatever, like random software. But there's always delay there. Yeah, so you'd have to suffer through the preview delay, if anything. So no, that's fucking smart. I mean, the little 10-inch screens are super handy. I had a PS1 screen that I still have somewhere around here that I used to just plug random shit into, because it was just handy to have like a little 3.2 inch or whatever it is, 3.5 inch screen for, a secondary monitor or whatever, like a chat room or something. It was great.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, now that I have it, I'm like, shit, every single streamer that ever tries to stream from a hotel room, like, if you're going to TwitchCon and planning on streaming from your hotel room at some point, which you probably should at least try to if you can, if you have a laptop that can do it, get one of, if you can afford the laptop, you can afford one of these tiny little 10-inch screens. Mm-hmm. It's actually great. But anyway, Destiny 2, it was funny. Like, I finally got back home and plugged my PS4 into like my actual setup and everything, and I was having the hardest time actually playing Destiny 2 because I wasn't used to having to look, like actually move my eyes to look at the edges of the screen. So I've been playing it for a week on this tiny ass screen.
I do the same thing. I have that Steam Link downstairs. I'll play a game here, like in front of me, like 2 inches in front of me, right? The PC, and then I'll go downstairs, the big ass TV, and it's just like, fucking forget it.
Yeah. But yeah, Destiny 2 is really fucking good. If you're already waiting for PC, I would say just continue waiting for PC at this point.
Yeah.
Because, like, the only real reason to go for it on PS4 is, like, don't get spoiled, which is why I went for it, or, like, get as much of an idea of how the game is going to work. Be as hardcore as you can on PS4 so that when PC comes out, you can be super efficient and get yourself caught back up in a hurry. At this point, like, I guess, like, if you bought Destiny 2 on PS4 right now and played through the campaign in the next few days, you'd probably still be fine, but the spoilers are going to start flowing really, really soon. The campaign is really good. Like, damn. It's really, really good. Like, it's, you remember the first level of the Taken King, where it's like, all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, this is super atmospheric, and, like, there's all these cinematic moments that are happening around me and involving me, and I'm doing this thing, and something crazy's happening over there.
Uh-huh.
it's that through almost the whole game. At least through all the main story quests. The last mission in particular, the next to last mission, sorry, in particular, is so fucking good for that sort of thing.
Damn. All right. Shit.
Like there's a point earlier where I was like looking around. I was like streaming this. I was streaming it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is so cool!" Like I like literally just sat back and looked at what was going on around me because it was super cool.
There was a couple moments like that in the beta or whatever it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Where like you're basically fighting through these tunnels and these catwalks or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like flung into a fucking strike team, and like I come around the corner and homeboy from Fringe, he was like, yeah, Zavala, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, Guardians, go here, blah, 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 stuff. That's my best fucking impression. That was terrible. He's like,
Guardians, get off my lawn. Bubble.
Can't breathe. And then like I was like, whoa, shit, there's like, who are these named characters? It was like, who are these NPCs with names? Like, wait a minute, those are other people. Holy shit, this is fucking awesome. Like once it clicked that I was just thrown into a fucking strike team with these like two other people or whatever, like I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And then after that we split up. And I was like, did I just do a strike? What was that? What happened? We were there, we were kicking ass, and then we split up. That was amazing. I was super pumped, and I really hope that kind of persists as you play.
Yeah, it definitely does. There's lots of moments where, like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the immediately after the few sections of the game that you go through immediately after what happens in the beta are super immersive and super emotional and really, really solid. The sort of like you remember the scene at the end of the beta, you get knocked off of the tower basically.
Yeah, that was great.
Or the ship. And then it just goes Destiny 2.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
Yeah. No, that was really good. I can't wait. It comes out October 22nd, I think.
24th, yeah.
24th.
2 days after TwitchCon.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to play the fuck out of it before BlizzCon, because that's coming up, 2 weeks after, I think. So, yeah, definitely going to put some work into that.
Gaul is great as a villain also.
Carl,
like Gaul, the big dude that kicks you off the thing.
Yeah, what is Nathan Fillion? What do you call him? Gary or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, he's good, huh? He seems pretty like formidable.
Yeah, like he's always obviously very, very formidable, but like so one thing that they're doing really, really well is they're making sure that the story is represented in the game instead of through like something else that you have to go look at elsewhere. There's no like grimoire like there was in Destiny 1.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so instead what they do is occasionally they just cut to these like meanwhile in Gaul's lair sort of things where he's like doing stuff over there.
Does it play kind of like a Halo campaign?
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
It's a Halo campaign.
That's
it's literally
so awesome.
it's a Halo campaign and you are Master Chief. Like,
oh god, oh man, it couldn't get any better.
Yeah, no, it's great. There's actually one moment towards the end where I got that same sort of, like, you remember when you first played Halo on the original Xbox, or whenever you at some point you played Halo.
Yeah.
And you're running around and you're doing stuff, and then you go outside and like you're still running around doing stuff, and you look up and you just see the entire rest of the Halo in front of you.
The first time you drop by with the Warhog.
Yeah. And you're like, whoa, I am on this big giant ring thing, and like they really, really nailed that feeling.
Yeah.
They really nailed that feeling again in Destiny 2. In a couple of spots. It's really good. It's really, really good. So yeah, if you liked Halo, then you should play Destiny 2. If you liked Halo campaign, I should say, then you should play Destiny 2. If you liked Halo multiplayer, then you should try Destiny 2, but it's different.
Yeah, it is and it isn't, like there's still loadouts, there's still like special abilities, not necessarily abilities, but there's still like items that you could use, but
yeah, I guess it's like it's Halo, except sometimes you die and there wasn't anything you could do about it.
Yeah,
and you just have to like that's I've found that to be the key to understanding Destiny 2 PvP and actually enjoying it, is coming to accept that sometimes you die and there was nothing you could have done about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That other guy pushed a button.
Yeah,
you
totally.
died.
Somebody ults, and then he's like, "Oh, golden gun. Well, rip."
Yeah, if like you can run and hide if you're far enough away, but if he ults and he's next to you, you're dead.
Yep.
You have like about a half a second to kill him, and then you're dead. It is actually a little bit better that it's not as substantial as it used to be in Destiny 1, because you're less like immune to everything when you're supering now. You still get damage reduction increase, but it's not as substantial. So you can actually, like, if some fucking sunbro is running around with his hammer out like a mile from you, you can pick him off before he gets to you.
That would just be the dumbest thing too. Just like just clank, and you look over, he's like fucking 200 yards away. It's like, really?
It's like punk.
Yeah. All right, PC release. I'll be there.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I'm like playing it on PS4. So having played the PC beta and gone like, oh, actually, this feels so good. This is such a good shooter. And now back on PS4, I'm like, fuck, I can't aim. What's going on?
You have a PS4
legit.
Pro?
No, just the regular PS4.
How does it look?
It looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I'm sure it looks better on the Pro. I may pick one up anyway, but like it seems dumb to buy a PS4 Pro for a game that I'm gonna play on that console for another 5 weeks.
I don't know, man. You did buy 2 fucking PS4s.
That's true. I have wanted a PS4 Pro for a while for VR purposes also. So.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Maybe I'll keep that in mind for like a Black Friday thing or something.
Yeah, the PS4 Pro or whatever, I think they're making it like compatible with excuse me, the Windows AR stuff. Oh, let me go real quick.
Oh.
Let's see. PSVR, Windows AR, whatever.
Like the HoloLens stuff?
Yeah. Let me see, or something like that. I'll have to look this up here because I feel like I'm kind of just like pulling shot my ass here. Actually, I know exactly where I saw it. Right in here. Doop.
Your secret source.
Oh, sorry. No, I got it all wrong. I looked at the thumbnail and one of the white headsets, I thought it was PSVR. Sorry. No, it's Steam VR will support Windows VR headsets. Sorry. I think that would be kind of strange if they had that kind of, between Sony and Microsoft somehow. But yeah, no, it's Steam VR will support Windows VR headsets because everyone's got a VR headset now. I think Dell just like announced one or something. Everybody. Yeah,
it's finally sort of starting to come around to a unified VR, like, this is how you VR. This, what's the word? Standard.
Yeah.
This is sort of finally starting to come around to that, which is great. And I'm so glad, like, it was so smart of all of the VR companies to do that as well. Because, like, even like the PSVR headset is actually compatible with a Windows machine. Like, you can actually just use one. There's like a special driver you have to install, a third-party driver you have to install, but like it's still built under the hood in a way that it works with a PC. And it was so important because I think everyone who was involved in VR just sort of stepped back at one point and said, all right, look, if we don't work together, all of us are going to fail. So if I have an Oculus and my friend has a Vive, now we can't play VR games together. Or like if I have the wrong VR headset, like if people feel like they have to buy 3 different VR headsets to play all the VR games.
Yeah, I feel like it's outside of the limitations between platforms. I feel like the biggest problem that they're running into, and they've been running into, is actual input. So, like, the Move controllers versus the wands versus the glove thing or whatever, the I forget what it's called for the
Oculus Touch.
Oculus. Yeah, Touch. They're all so different. I mean, the wands between the Vive and the PSVR Yeah, they're pretty similar.
Those are basically the same.
Yeah. So at least they have kind of a foothold there where they can kind of like nudge someone else. But at the same time, like the Oculus Touch is kind of like better, like it's totally better. You get a whole hand in this thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's the sort of thing where, at the very least, it can do everything that the other two can as well. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you have an Oculus with an Oculus Touch, you don't feel like you need a Vive. And it seems better, but it's not the sort of thing that's going to be so much better that someone's going to be like, exclusively for Oculus Touch or something, because you don't need it. The one sort of outlier is actually the PSVR with the aim controller. Basically, the outlier at the moment is Farpoint, which is a fun game. It has the same problem that most VR games have, in my opinion, which is that they developed half a game and then realized, shit, we've spent too much money developing this, we need to release it. But it's also like you specifically have to use a PSVR and the aim controller to even play it, which is a shame because it's fun, but most people aren't going to ever play it.
It is a shame. Like there's a lot of good VR games. I realize we're kind of deviating here a little bit, but I just want to point out there's a ton of great VR games, and there's also like a insane amount of shitty ones. Yes, but still, like there's so many good games, and there's just like Raw Data is really fun. I think it's kind of like the game that you described playing, Farpoint. I think it kind of has that same like first person shooter, whatever feel, with progression, all that stuff kind of embedded. But yeah, no, there's a lot of great games that just will never, probably never get picked up because the platform took too long to get going. But
yeah. So, speaking of Destiny 2, by which I mean speaking of the Vanguard, by which I mean speaking of Zavala and Ikora and Cade, by which I mean speaking of a fire team, by which I mean speaking of Firewatch.
That was great.
Got my old groove back just for a minute there. Yeah. So this is another, like, as soon as you hear the word Pewdiepie at this point, okay, what the fuck did he do now?
Yeah, what did he say this time?
Yeah, what racist shit did that shitbag say this time? God. So the most recent thing is he dropped an N-bomb while he was streaming. I guess he was live streaming Firewatch.
No. Oh, so you didn't see the video?
I didn't actually see the video.
All right, so he's playing PUBG.
He's playing PUBG.
And he was shooting at somebody, and he's potatoing a bunch of shots, and he got mad, and he's like, this stupid... like,
oh, right, okay.
Like something like that, right? And then he immediately, like, he said that, and he goes, stupid bastard. Yeah, and like he's kind of like, and then he's like, oh my God. Like you could tell, like in the little odd shot clip that he was like he recognized right away. Yeah, he recognized right away that he had said it, that he was streaming. I think later on he's like, sometimes you don't know when you're saying a lot, sometimes you don't remember that you're streaming or something like that, which definitely didn't help him at all.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's funny, like last time we talked about PewDiePie was the whole Wall Street Journal article and all that stuff, and I felt like they really like went and they dug up every little thing they could to piece together to paint this picture, and I was like, that's really fucked up, right? Because it was kind of his first time really getting in serious shit, right?
Sure.
And so I kind of took his side on that. I was like, that's kind of fucked up. This time, nah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
clearly is a pattern here.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, like I'm all for forgive. Like I've streamed a ton myself. I've said stupid shit while I was streaming. There was a time that I shouted at someone in WoW and said that he should choke on glass or something because I was raging super hard. This is way back in Cataclysm, but I was raging super hard, and I was like, okay. And I stepped back after that. I was like, I'm sorry, chat room. Like I that was wrong of me to say. I don't remember exactly what I said, but like just started apologizing for it. And like that's how you deal with that sort of situation. But then if I went and did it again, like a month later,
Worse.
Like, it's okay. Yeah, worse. Like, man. Yeah, like, if it was someone that you would not expect this, especially because he got in so much shit for it before.
Yeah.
And this is someone who's in a public enough eye that he absolutely should, if he doesn't, it's his own goddamn fault, understand how necessary it is to not perpetuate bad perceptions about yourself. Like, if people think you're a racist, maybe don't drop N-bombs on stream. Just an idea.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like there was there was this tweet going around a while ago that was like, retweet if you've never said the N-word in a heated gaming moment. And I was like, I don't actually remember if I was 15 once, right? I don't actually remember if that's true or not. I know that people make mistakes and they move on from their mistakes, but Jesus Christ, man, this is a pretty bad fucking mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty shitty. I know like probably for certain I don't think I've ever said it because it's always felt dirty.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just, I mean, I've said other things that at the time, and I think I understand why. Like I used to call my friends fags and all that stuff, right? And now it's like,
right,
man,
yeah.
I feel dirty saying it like that.
Yeah, yeah. Now you have to drop the voice.
But really what stopped it for me was moving out here. Here's the weird thing. So like growing up, my best friend was black, right? So he used to always rub in my face that he was black for some reason. I don't know why, right? Like he's always. And so I think that's probably why I never got around to dropping the N-bomb, even casually. Because I felt like I'd be doing my buddy Lewis, like, you know, I'd be like, that's kind of fucked up. Yeah. But I didn't have any, I don't think anybody had gay friends growing up because nobody would talk about it, you know? And it wasn't
when you and I were like, it was super like, you don't tell anybody,
right?
When we were growing up,
and so it wasn't until I moved out here to the Bay Area, which is the fucking gay mecca, right? Where it's like okay, now I'm surrounded. Now I have a better understanding. I have a ton of friends. I had a gay friend. He was my best friend actually, and when I was working at Campo Santos before I moved. But he would say like all the homosexual slurs, he would use all of them. Like he was really fucked up, right? Like, and so anyways, yeah. So what I'm trying to get at is that there's like an influence here, you know, like, and somebody pointed out, it's like, well, people say that shit all the time when they're not streaming or whatever. And it's like, well, probably because they're influenced by people, not necessarily like PewDiePie specifically because this is his first time saying it on a public forum, but just like other people who use it just so willy-nilly and just use just in general different types of derogatory terms, just willy-nilly. And so they picked that up. I mean, you probably jumped on Xbox 360, any random game with voice activated. Even today, you jump into PUBG and just turn on the fucking voice chat. My character in PUBG is black, right? Every time I get in, if I fucking unmute it, I hear all kinds of shit, especially in the lobby, all the time.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely omnipresent for sure, but it's just because of like an influence, like a social influence somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, it seems like I talk about like I was 15 once, and I guess I should clarify that I was 15 growing up in Whitesville, Michigan, where there was like, what's culture's precious? Like literally it was just white people on white people on white people, like being told by church elders when I'm very young, like, oh no, we don't trust them because black people can't be trusted. And just at the time when you're 6 years old,
you don't
like,
know any better.
This is an adult. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe adults when they say things. So like I absolutely, when I was young, I was racist. I hope that I'm over it at this point. I get the like making. So that's just why I say like I get the argument of. I understand the argument of why would you shit on someone for saying something they regret in a heated gaming moment. Okay, sure. This PewDiePie isn't a 15-year-old kid who's being heavily influenced by or
by
6-year-old
other
kid,
adults and whatever. Yeah,
by other adults. Yeah, he's the most successful YouTuber on YouTube, right? Like, this is a guy who first off should know better, and B, has already come under shit for doing this shit in the past. So no, fuck this guy. This is not one of those cases.
Yeah, and also like how how casual it kind of came out, you know, like there are words that, you know, it can be any word that, like, just think about it like this: if you're in front of your mom, right, or your grandma, or whoever, you just somehow magically cut off the cursing, right? Like, it's kind of like I feel like it's kind of like that, you know, like I let slip sometimes curse words, the ones that I'm like comfortable saying, right? Like fuck. Like I said fuck in front of my mom and gotten a look a couple of times because it feels natural. And so that's what it felt like when I watched that, you know, Odd Shot. It felt like that came out pretty fucking natural, man. Like,
yeah. Yeah, like you can tell when it's the first time someone's used a word, because they're not really sure what to do with their face to make the word happen. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Don't die.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, like you can sort of tell, like, this is the first time that someone is, like, when someone reads off a word in, like, they're reading off a German word, they don't speak German, they're just trying to pronounce what is Leinenkugel, which is a name of a beer. I don't know why that's what came to mind. But like trying to the first time, like, you have to sort of sit and think about it, and it feels weird, and they sort of have that look on their face shortly afterwards, like, oh, that's not a thing I've done with my tongue and teeth and vocal cords in that coordination before. Maybe that's just me because I'm weird. But
Yeah.
like you can definitely tell when it's the first time someone has used a slur.
Yeah. Totally.
So that was not one of those cases. It sounds like I haven't actually seen it. I actually thought he was playing Firewatch when it happened, because the whole reason that this has now started to come up is because Campo Santo, is it Campo Santo or Campo Santos? If it's Campo Santos, then it should be Campos Santos for grammatical accuracy.
Now I'm confused. I think it's Campo Santos.
Is it Campo Santos?
But now you confuse me. I feel like I should know since I'm like 1 degree away from all those people. Yeah, Campo Santo. No plural.
Campo Santo.
Campo Santo.
No plural. Okay, cool. I put one plural in the document because I didn't know which one it was, and then I was like, wait, it can't possibly be this. This is wrong. This is actual Spanish. This isn't just a collection of... Anyway, Campo Santo, the developers of Firewatch, basically came out and said, yeah, we're going to issue a DMCA takedown on all of PewDiePie's Firewatch videos because we don't want our game to be associated with this dickbag. And that spurred up this whole big old thing of, like, is it actually legal for them to do this? Spoilers, yes. But it says on their website that people can do what they want with it. Spoilers, it doesn't matter. Like, that's not how the DMCA works. Yeah, and like, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but Ryan Morrison is, so I trust his tweets about the thing. Basically saying, yeah, the DMCA says that they can do what they want with their copyright. It's their copyright.
So, mildly conflicting. Leonard French was talking about it, and he also talked a little bit with is it Morris or Morrison?
Ryan Morrison.
Morrison. Yeah. They exchanged a couple tweets about it. It seems like they're both on the same page, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure because the way Leonard French puts it out, and I feel like it kind of, his explanation kind of makes the most sense because of the way that we've seen like the Jimquisition thing, which I realize that's more like slander and libel or whatever. But still, the way that we've seen other things kind of go down, where typically it's a judge that looks at the data and says, "Yeah, you're an asshole," and that's it, right? Like, and he makes a judgment call. Leaning one way or the other based off of the evidence and everything. So the way that Leonard French had presented it was like, because of the of the thing on their website saying, yeah, we could do whatever, they don't really have a whole lot of grounds, because they could take him to court. And the agreement that I felt like Morrison and French kind of came to, they both agreed on, was that they could DMCA it going further, but they couldn't recoup any of the costs or any of the earnings or any kind of damages or whatever, which obviously I think that would make total. Yeah. I was like, well, yeah, that would make no sense at all for that. But I think the thing where they disagree on is whether or not, because it's on their fucking site and it's accessible through their FAQ, whether or not that is admissible as, well, you kind of said that everyone could do it, and now you want to backpedal on it and then use the DMCA and all that stuff. So I think it just depends on the judge, maybe. But again, yeah, I anal. I am not a lawyer, so
yeah,
we'll have to.
From my understanding, like the way that copyright law works, you're still allowed to protect your copyright in certain situations, and so the DMCA. A DMCA is a filing that says you're using my copyright in a way that I don't want you to. I'm the copyright owner, so therefore you have to take this down. It's not like it's a specific filing, not a like hard and fast law that this is how this works as a default, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I think what Ryan was saying is along the lines of, just from the few, I've been in fucking Ohio for a week, so I haven't really been able to keep up with this super well. He actually tweeted about it 30 seconds ago.
Oh, wow.
He's going to be doing a podcast about it. This
Tomorrow,
Robot Congress podcast. Yeah. He says, doing final edits on the Robot Congress episode about these DMCAs, and O'Connor says Pewdiepie by accident, scrapping entire episode. Anyway, but yeah, so he's gonna have a podcast that, and he'll, if you're really interested in this stuff, go listen to him. I definitely will, because I want to know at least what that lawyer's thoughts are on how it works.
Yeah, extensively, because the only thing he's put out so far is a couple of tweets, and French had a kind of a video and he kind of point out a couple of things, but yeah, and, it's kind of like seeing a doctor. Sometimes you gotta get a second opinion, right?
Yeah. Well, and it may well be a case where there are two laws that contradict each other, and so this could be the sort of thing that theoretically, if people wanted to push it super hard, ended up in the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court would then have to decide which of the two laws supersedes the other, sort of thing. Yeah, no, that'd be super interesting. I think probably what the most interesting part is that if they file a DMCA and then PewDiePie decides to counter, it'll get restored in a couple weeks. Yeah.
If the Campo Santos doesn't like do anything, their only option after that is to go to court. Now, if it was me, I would just take the video down, because I don't have the money to go up against Campo Santo. I don't. PewDiePie, on the other hand, PewDiePie might have the money to go out.
He
almost
certainly does. Yeah.
So really, I feel like, I'm just kind of rewind a little bit. I kind of wish he didn't open his fucking mouth to begin with. Honestly, I honestly feel like I feel like this is kind of a backfire, because every time I hear about what PewDiePie said, which is obviously deplorable, all this stuff, right? It's always coupled now with Campo Santo. And I feel like if they didn't say anything, I understand why he said it. He felt like he needed to say something, social justice, whatever, right? Fine. He had to say something, right? That's what he felt. I feel like he should have just waited a little bit. Like let it simmer or let it boil or whatever, because it was like what, Sunday or something? Or Saturday, whatever. It was over the weekend. And that PewDiePie was gonna basically burn across social media, and he didn't need people, because even I was like, well, wait a minute, can you do that? Like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, because if you do that, then that sets like a weird precedence for all the rest of it. So it's now suddenly I'm kind of on PewDiePie's side on this with the DMCA thing, because it's like now I feel like my income could potentially be threatened because some developer doesn't like something that I've said. And it's like that could set a precedence. And if he didn't say anything to begin with, because it wasn't his fucking game, it was getting streamed, right? If he didn't say anything to begin with, we would only be talking about what PewDiePie said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend the DMCA at all. Like it's fairly well cataloged that it's actually a piece of shit, and the way it works doesn't work well for literally anyone involved except for people that abuse it.
That's very true. Wow, that is so true.
Yeah, like it's like as someone who has to occasionally issue DMCA takedowns for Blizzard based on violations of copyright violations. It's a process that's a huge pain in the ass when it's actually a case of like, no, this is pirated. This is a pirated version of our software. It's a clearly pirated version of our software. This video needs to be taken down because it's violating our copyright. The system just does not work for shit like that. It really only works in the case of like, I created this video. I'm a major corporation that thus has access to the actual tools needed to use things on YouTube to actually do this stuff, and therefore I've found this actual exact video somewhere else and decided that they can't use it. And even then, that's where Content ID sort of steps in and does most of the work anyway. So yeah, it's a shitty law that needs to be revisited. It needs to be revisited by people who know what the fuck the industry is, which isn't going to happen.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I fear that somebody, Supreme Court Justice, 89 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, you mean like Pong? No, fuck. Oh, Jesus, we're all screwed. You know, like it's gonna be one of those things. And so,
why would you watch someone play a video game?
Oh man. Oh Jesus. Yeah. I guess we'll see where it goes because. And also, I'm interested in seeing more from both Leonard French and Morrison, because this could actually not go anywhere. Like I don't know if Sean Veneman of Campo Santo ever actually followed through on that threat. Let me see. Let me check his recent tweets here just to see. Freedom of speech. Lastly, I love streamers. Just not Pewdiepie. I made that part up. No, it's mostly just the stuff he said the other night, pretty much. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's possible that they're now going, wait, hang on, do we actually have the ability to do this? Maybe they're looking into the legal side of it as well. It's the sort of thing like it's easy as someone in that position to think to yourself and go, no, this is my copyright. I can take down his video if I want. And not necessarily realize that there are actually still qualifications that are necessary there.
Yeah.
Every time I need to take down a video or a stream or something for Blizzard, I have to route it through our legal team, or at least for awareness of here's what went on. And like the first couple times that I did it, we had to actually like really sit down and say, okay, here are the situations where it's okay. Here are the situations where it isn't. So yeah. It's also like legal issues are always a measure of risk, not necessarily a measure of what's actually legal or not. Especially in cases like copyright, like what most of the time when you're defending your copyright, which is what the DMCA is actually supposed to be there for, it's less a case of I don't like this, take it down, and more a case of if I don't take this down, then I might lose a court case in the future if I need to.
Yeah.
So it's just fucking messy, which is why I'm just gonna say let the lawyers talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Leonard French, Leonard J. French, and Morrison. Is it like
video game attorney?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Straight video game attorney. That's right.
Yeah.
Definitely follow them for more. Definitely better commentary than legal commentary than what we could provide here at our office, the DigiWho law offices of
the law offices of don't come here.
Go somewhere else.
Don't get your case won. So anyway, there's got to be some way I can tie this together. I'm thinking really hard.
Are you kidding me? It's like it's almost like identical outside of.
I was trying to do a different tie-in, but yeah, that's a better one. Yeah. So speaking of dickhead YouTubers doing dickhead YouTuber things,
There you go.
This was actually really, really interesting that the CSGO Lotto owners have managed to get out of actually being fined by the FTC for promoting their site without disclosing that they owned the site.
Just like smarmy, like really, I think that's the only word I could really describe. Like if you watch the so if you missed on Team Martin and Pro Syndicate, they had a CSGOlotto.com, I think, or something like that. Basically, you could go there, you could bet, and you get skins and all that stuff. And people are basically throwing down their skins and they're losing, or they're winning or whatever. And it was owned by these two guys. They would make videos of themselves going on and playing, and they would get tons of hits on these videos. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this fucking legendary skin or whatever the fuck, right? This skin worth a ton of money, and he'd win. And he had all these these videos showing him winning at this fucking site. And then he got caught one time. I think it was like live streaming it or something like that. He got caught where he was like logged in as like the other players or something like that in the something really, really like the admin panel or something like really ridiculous. And then, that's basically how the whole thing fell apart. Honor the Call picked it up first and kind of blew the whole thing open. And then it went mainstream when Ethan and them at H3H3, they made a video about it. And basically, it took it straight mainstream and it turned huge. We talked about it here on the show. We talked about gambling commissions and all that, and how this is real. This is a real established thing that's taken years to hone and to fine tune. And here are these two assholes, lying about, or not lying, but omitting, I guess, that they were involved with this site. And people,
omitting with intention of deception.
Yeah,
I think is fair.
Yeah. And it was just turned into a big thing. And that's where that whole hey guys, I found this brand new site fucking meme or whatever came from, is because of these two guys. And so the FTC decided, like you said, that they're not going to fine them, but they definitely are going to make their lives hell if they want to do anything else business related for 20 years.
Yeah. So I think the interesting quote from this article on GameSpot that you linked earlier from the FTC is someone in their PR division said to Rolling Stone, the goal of the FTC isn't to be a punitive or draconian agency. We're here to educate consumers about new markets. So the draconian agency bit we could cast all sorts of aspersions on, but basically what they're saying here is more or less, okay, I'm presenting this more as a theory,
okay, based
on a few other things that I've seen as well, which I'll get into in a second. I think what we're seeing here is the FTC basically saying, whoa, hang on, this is actually way, way worse and more widespread than we thought it was. As soon as we started talking about this, we got 50 billion reports in of some guy who got a hat for free and didn't tell his streamers or his stream that he got a hat and talked about how great the hat is. And so the reason that I think that's the case is we're actually starting to see the FTC ramp up their sort of cracking down on this sort of thing. I think it was Aurelian on Twitter, one of the community people at, or partnerships people. I don't remember exactly what her role is, but she's at Twitch. She was tweeting about, you guys, seriously, the FTC is really cracking down on this, and actually linked an FTC form letter where it was like, as I've spoken to you before, insert name here, this insert product here that you've been promoting on your insert content here, sort of thing. They're clearly starting to look at, okay, we're going to give people a warning, and then we're going to crack the fuck down on them, and start actually levying huge fines. That's actually the case in this as well. The FTC has said that if they breach this, They've made an agreement with the FTC to disclose any endorsements going forward, and if they breach it in the future, it's going to be a $40,000 fine for them, which is a pretty big deal
per infraction.
Per infraction, yes.
That's how the FTC. That's how the FTC gets you. It's always the per infractions.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And depending on how they define per infraction, that could actually, and so I doubt that's the case here, but it could actually be every single individual viewer is counted as an infraction. So this is the sort of thing that can get really, really serious in a hurry. So like I think we're really starting to see just basically TLDR, if you get something for free and you're showing it off or talking about it, tell people you got it for free. Like the form letter even included the phrase that like a simple thank you to blank is not enough. Like you can't just say, hey, and by the way, thanks so much Elgato for this product or something like that. Like it has to be, thanks so much Elgato for sending me this for free so that I could review it.
Yeah.
Like that level of stuff.
Yeah. Camera reviewers are really good at this. They usually open it, especially with like lenses and shit. They usually open it up and they'll say like right away, they say, and I got this from Canon and it has no influence on my review whatsoever, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, this is actually the first time that the FTC has had to step into the influencer market, they're calling it. And that, when you look at it from that perspective, I mean, obviously I want these guys to get shit on, right? But if you look at it from that perspective, like this is the first time they've had that. The FTC stepped in. They obviously need to set up precedents, because if they came in and they were like, yeah, $40,000 per infraction, they would have to do that every single time it happened across the board, you know?
Yeah.
And so they don't even know how to value it, because the scale online is massive, just fucking massive, right? Like if you're downloading music in the Napster days, right? If you're downloading like the Metallica album, right? So you have Metallica, the Black Album. So you have, 10 songs, 11 songs, okay? And then you get hit for like 11 infractions. You don't accidentally like download more music, you downloaded that album. You didn't accidentally download more music. You can't, like you have to go and get it yourself. In the influencer market, the social market, something that you put out there, if you get 10 views, then great. It could also get 10 fucking million views.
Yeah.
And so the FTC has to figure out, how do we put a value on each individual infraction? And then how does it scale? Because again, they made the mistake once and they put it out there. Like in the terms of like Napster and all that stuff, well, they just say, okay, how about just per song? Okay, great. So per song. They could have done per album, but no, they went per song. And so each individual song costs X amount of, thousands of dollars. But in this case, you can't say one view, because you could have viewed it once yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's new. It's totally new. It's something they need to get a grasp on.
Yeah, and like the purposes of the fines are like fines aren't there to make them money. Like, sure, that's definitely part of it, and there's can be all sorts of like discussion about like fines as a revenue stream and how that can be shitty for organizations and rules, et cetera, et cetera. Not the point I'm trying to get into. The purpose of the fine is you need a way to actually punish people for infractions. And so like if it's a $40,000 fine for every infraction for a massive YouTuber, like, I don't know, like PewDiePie or people like Total Biscuit even, or Jesse Cox, like that, those sorts of people. And Total Biscuit and Jesse Cox, by the way, are just both absolutely great about this, and it's never something that's even remotely been a problem for them. But like if Jesse were to release a video where he was talking about like here's this new figurine that he got or something, and it's super cool and he loves it, and just neglected to at any point mention that he received it for free in exchange for doing this video, then and the FTC cracked down on him, then a $40,000 fine for that, like one $40,000 fine might be something that he can actually handle. If you're JESSIKOX on YouTube, like just some other rando who like your XX Dark Illidan XX, on YouTube.
Targeted.
420 Blaze It. MLG. You're just some nobody rando on YouTube, and you put up this video because you thought it was cool, and it was some sort of product where, like, maybe it was one of those you're trying to get into the YouTuber market, so you're like finding indie game devs who will seriously throw keys at people with 10 subscribers because they just desperately want exposure for their product, and 10 subscribers, maybe one of them will buy it,
Mm-hmm.
And you fail to mention that you got that key for free. A $40,000 fine for that person is like life ending. Like, that's ridiculous. So it's clear that it's the sort of situation where even like the actual monetary value of what is the punishment for this is something that's almost gonna have to be determined on a case by case basis.
Yeah, and there's follow up. Like, just because they didn't get fined by FTC doesn't mean that they're off the hook. They do have cases. I think the FTC said that they're going to leave it to the state of Florida to determine what to do with them. And Florida doesn't have gambling.
Buildings.
Oh, dang.
I'm sorry. It's just,
it definitely doesn't have bark on trees right now. I've seen that much.
Yeah, for sure.
But they don't have a gambling commission there. So if so, they're fucking lucky. Like, if T Barton lived in Nevada or I think Mississippi, anywhere there was a casino or any kind of gambling commission, he would be fucked. Like, I mean, maybe they would let him off with a bit of a slap on the hand or something, like a small fine or whatever. But there's no gambling commission in Florida, so I don't know who's going to necessarily pursue any further damages. But I'm certain they still have like at least civil cases that they'll have to settle with all, like, just 13-year-old kids who lost X amount of skins or whatever, and they have parents who want to sue for it or something. But yeah, I heard they're watching a video and it's like, oh, he's in the state of Florida and there's no gambling commission. I was like, oh, those lucky fucks. Because like the gambling commission, it feels like the gambling commission in Vegas, like it feels like it almost feels like a mafia, man, like a mobster type thing. Because they do have like just far-reaching power, and the big bad casinos, like they bow down to the Nevada Gaming Commission. And so from my perspective, it's like, oh, these guys are running the show for the guys who think they're running the show, right? Like, so yeah, I mean, lucky for them, they're not living in a state that has a gambling commission. So, but we'll see what happens, I guess, later on with them.
Yeah. Indeed. So the only other thing that I wanted to talk about, speaking about escaping punishment, this actually ties in pretty well with Mario Rabbids. Like Mario versus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, I think, is the actual official name of it. And the reason I say escaping punishment is I don't know how Nintendo let this game happen. Like, and that's a good, like, I mean that in a good way, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know how Nintendo allowed a game that's so like crude for Mario, like with toilets and shit just like all over the place, like obvious bathroom butt humor on a regular interval. And there's Mario and Peach and Luigi and Toad and all of that shit going on at the same time. Like, when you say Mario plus Rabbids, my first thought was like, okay, this is just going to be the Rabbids are there to be minions, basically. And they're just going to be like these goofy little, it's funny, jump on their heads sometimes sort of thing. But like, they're actually the star of the show, and Mario and them are there to sell copies. Like, seriously, I was talking about it on Twitter the other day as well. Rabid Peach is like one of the best characters that's ever been put in any video game.
Oh yeah,
ever.
you're the one I got that from. It was like a little video, like she's like takes like selfies or something like that. Like
yes, like legit getting tossed up in the air, being attacked by a monster, screaming her head off, and then stops to take like 6 different selfies. And it's like, okay, that's actually really funny. And like you look at the game and you expect it to be like a kid's game. I don't think most kids could play this game.
Oh, really? That bad?
It's tough. Like it's not XCOM tough, but it's XCOM on easy mode tough. Like it's fairly difficult.
Oh, is it XCOM style gameplay? Like that turn-based, like.
Yeah, it's good too. Like it's some good gameplay. That's some good gameplay right there. Sorry, I've been hanging around Vajira too much lately.
It's just it is just such a weird like thing.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, because you're right. They're totally minions, right? And they were in Raving Rabbids. Oh my god.
Raving Rabbids.
That's right.
Yeah. Like it's weird to even remember that there's some sort of weird spin-off of Rayman.
Right? Yeah. And like that was like I guess Ubisoft's like example, right? It's like, hey, look, we did it here. We can do it with Mario. And from what I'm hearing from like you and from a bunch of other people, like it's a massive success. This bizarre mashup is a massive success.
It's good. The gameplay is super deep. Like the individual characters have all these different abilities that are like play off of each other in really interesting ways. Like the actual like moving around the map and stuff. Like there's puzzles that are fucking tough to solve. Like there are sections of the game that you could. Well, maybe not your kid because he's some sort of like video game savant, but like you could take a 5-year-old and put them in front of like this slide the thing around puzzle, and they would be completely incapable of doing it. Like just actually incapable because attention span more than anything else. They'd get bored in a hurry. Before they eventually managed to slide the thing around into like accidentally slide across it, which by the way was entirely what I did. Was eventually managed to accidentally solve this puzzle. Man, it's good. Damn. It's tough.
Yeah.
I say it's tough. I still like I get the top score on the top possible score on every single thing.
Like Cuphead tough or
I haven't played Cuphead. I don't think so.
Gone.
It's not like
you were gone. Oh no, Lord, I forgot you were gone.
Yeah.
May I explain the reference real quick?
Sure.
All right. So, game developer plays Cuphead, records some video footage of it. Does absolutely just fucking abysmal. Does not get.
Oh, I did hear about this.
Yeah, he couldn't figure out how to jump dash, right? Which is kind of a staple in like every other platformer, right?
Well, and also it's fairly self-explanatory. You jump and then you dash.
So this guy on GamesBeat made an article, and he implied he's like, yeah, I'm really bad. I'm really bad at this game, but it's also very hard. He mentioned like Dark Souls in it, and I fucking hate when journalists do that. And anyways,
it's hard like Dark Souls, which means it's hard.
Yeah. yeah. So it blew up. It blew up in this whole thing, and so now basically it's become like it's like, oh, is it like Cuphead hard? It's kind of a fucking joke. So anyways,
it's the new meme.
Yeah, it's
got
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
Got it. Filed that one away. The fucking memes I have to keep up with.
You're gone for a week and you miss out.
Seriously. Like half of the topics that we're talking about this week are like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what this is, but I saw some tweets about it. But that's every week, so
pretty much
every single week.
Every week. Reliably.
We're the most reliable show on the internet. But yeah, Mario Rabbids, it's actually really good.
Shit, man.
Everyone hates Luigi, and I don't know why.
Every other time, every other show, which is every other month or so. You mention a new Wii game that I'm like, man,
Switch
game. Switch game. Where it's just like, man, I should get a Switch for that game. And you've done it like probably 6 times now. At this point, like if I had ever like picked up a fucking Switch, I would have played. I would at least own 6 games.
Yeah, like at this point, the sort of list of play this on Switch for me is Zelda, obviously.
Yeah.
Splatoon, Mario Rabbids, Splatoon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are kind of the 3 that, and Mario Kart. The Switch version of Mario Kart, they actually added a lot of really good shit to it, which makes it worth picking up even if you played it on Wii U before. Those are kind of the 4 that I'd really say go for. Just like the 4 exclusives that I'd really say go for. Mm-hmm. I really like having Sonic Mania on my Switch.
Oh yeah, Sonic Mania. That'd be a great one.
Yeah, I like having Shovel Knight on my Switch. I picked up ARMS. I don't think ARMS is very good. It's a good, like, I bought a Switch and shit, I need to justify my purchase by buying video games sort of game. Yeah. But that's about it. It kind of lacks the real depth that they were trying to. They were trying to push it as like, maybe this could be an esport, guys, and it didn't really take on. Honestly, I think the biggest problem that ARMS had was that nobody really took it seriously. Like, and I don't mean like the development team phoned it in. I mean, like, I feel like ARMS sort of came and went as a whisper, and it never really got enough of a critical mass to get to the point where the people that were playing it are fun to play against, if that makes sense. Yeah. There's Pokken Tournament coming out soon. There's a Metroid game coming out soon. I don't care if it sucks. I don't care if it's an Other M re-release. Like, I will play that.
Man. All right. Yeah. Clearly, I need to.
There's a Mario, like an actual Mario game coming out soon.
Black Friday. I'm gonna have to do this.
Mario in New York for some reason.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I feel like Nintendo's is getting more and more like just open with Mario. Just let them. Yeah, whatever. Just.
Yeah.
Do whatever.
Mario and Peach like porn on Twitter. Yes.
He what was the, he's no longer a plumber.
Oh yeah. Former plumber now. I remember hearing that.
Former plumber. So yeah, I wonder, like, because I feel like before Nintendo's always been just kind of like let Mario and friends kind of do whatever. There's Paper Mario or RPG, and there's Galaxy, and then there's, look at the difference between like Super Mario 1, 2, and 3. Like they never settled on anything. They just kept on just getting just different with every single one. And then Mario World, and it's just like every single one, it was just different and unique.
Like, just real quick, like you mentioned Mario 3, it came out recently that Super Mario 3 is actually canonically the cast of Mario putting on a play. Like how Mario 2 is someone they go to the dream world. They're literally dreaming the entire time.
Fucking spoilers, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry. I know the game's only 30 years old.
Yeah, you're right. Because right when you turn on the game, there's the theater curtains that open up.
Yeah, and all of the props in the background, like someone noticed this and acted about it. Like they all are like very flat. Yeah,
and they have like nails in the corner. Oh my god!
Yup,
I didn't fucking know this.
Canonically, Super Mario 3 is a play.
I have logged thousands of hours in this fucking game, and I did not know that makes so much fucking sense.
And this is literally where, like, you get to the end of the stage and it goes black, like you've run out of the scene basically, and then Mario does the little like peace sign towards the camera and walks off what is now known as the stage
right or whatever.
Yeah, like that's where that whole like that motion that he's done in every fucking like 2D platformer since came from was he's actually just signing off after he's like waving goodbye to the crowd as he walks off stage.
Man.
Fucking blew my mind,
I know,
man.
a little bit. It just all makes sense. Did not know that. I knew about the Mario 2 was not Mario 2 until they put Mario and crew in it. So it was like some other game. Because actual Mario,
which is why it was like a Dream World thing.
Yeah, and actual Mario 2 was actually very similar to Mario 1. But still, like, it's still on Nintendo. We could still use that as an example because Mario 2 is Mario 2. They made that decision to make that a Mario game. So it is, historically a Mario game. And so, like just I feel like it's been the slowest, and I'm not surprised because I feel like between like Squeenix and Konami and fucking like every Japanese-based game developer company, like it's always a very slow kind of expansion. Whatever they're doing, they always take it very slow and methodically. It's almost to their detriment, to kind of go and explore and do new things. And it's exciting now, 30 years later, that we have like crossovers and you see Mario fucking isn't there like a Nintendo Land or something like that in Japan or something? Like,
I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm sure, like, I don't know if that's coming, obviously, but there's a fucking Snoopy farm. What is it called? The Peanuts farm? Or the fuck? Knott's Berry farm. Yeah, like, I mean, if fucking Peanuts have a if they have a theme park, surely in LA somewhere we can have a Nintendo themed theme park.
How much you want to bet that Disney has been trying to buy film rights to Mario? Just as a crazy tinfoil hat theory.
Oh my god, that is such a tinfoil hat theory. Like, I don't even know how to feel about that.
Like, I don't know that it's the sort of thing that would ever get outside of like hey, maybe we should reach out to Nintendo and see what they think about film rights for their characters sort of thing. But that's 100% something that they would do. They bought fucking Star Wars, all right.
I know. You can't even say they wouldn't do it. They bought they bought Star Wars. They bought the entire Marvel comic universe. Where the fuck, they really could do. Like, Disney really does have the resources to make a great animated Mario movie. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
And they're fortunate that these are characters, these are long beloved characters that also already have a voice. Like, if you tried to make a animated Metroid movie, and you got Samus Aran, like, so many people would hate however Samus Aran sounds because she's never spoken anything aloud. True. As far as I remember, like, not even in like the Metroid Prime series did she ever actually speak anything aloud. But Mario, you've got that one guy who keeps showing up in all those videos and goes, hoo-hoo, ha-ha.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you remember, I think you were there, when we were at E3 a couple years ago. And it was right after Nintendo had announced Super Mario Maker for the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked by, and it was literally that guy just standing on stage going, now say it with me, hoo-hoo, and the crowd goes, hoo-hoo.
Yeah, it was like the actual voice actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's so funny. Yeah, totally. He's out there just making like random sounds, and everyone's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Here's the I feel like I don't, as interesting and some like alternate dimension as that would be to see what would Disney be able to do with the characters. I don't feel like, I mean, Nintendo and Mario is a massive part of Japanese culture. So I don't feel like they would let it go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like they would. I just, again, like, it goes back to the whole thing how they are very slow with they don't quickly expand into new markets and try different weird things or whatever, like fringe things. They're very controlling of their IP. They're very to the point where they even like, you can't even, they content ID all their all the game footage on YouTube. So it's like, yeah, they're very controlling of everything they have. And so I don't think they'd ever do it. But man, how interesting as fuck that would be.
Yup.
I have to make a new tinfoil hat. Oh, I have this nipple tassel I told you about. It's sequined.
I don't remember you telling me about. Oh, I do now. Yeah, is your new tinfoil hat?
My 152 scale nipple tassel tinfoil hats.
Yeah, tinfoil yarmulke, basically.